Good morning. I want to speak over your life today and declare it's payback time. You've cried silent tears. You've walked through seasons of being overlooked, underestimated, and unfairly treated. You've smiled through the pain, stayed faithful when it was hard, kept showing up when quitting looked easier. And while others may have counted you out, God never did. He saw every sleepless night, every betrayal, every closed door, and every injustice. He took notes. He's the God who keeps records, not to shame you, not to punish you, but to reward you. And now he's saying, it's payback time. Not payback as the world sees it, not vengeance, not bitterness, but divine compensation. God is getting ready to restore what the enemy tried to steal. He's about to settle some accounts. The delays didn't deny you, they prepared you. The loss didn't destroy you, it positioned you. That heartbreak wasn't the end of your story. It was the setup for a comeback. You may have been through a lot, but you're not empty. You're pregnant with purpose. Something powerful is about to be birthed. Favor is about to find you. Doors are about to open. People are about to see what God already knew about you all along. You are chosen, anointed, and unstoppable. The tables are turning. The tide is shifting. What held you back is being broken. What you thought was permanent pain is about to become visible gain. You're not just going to recover, you're going to rise higher than ever before. So don't shrink back. Don't let the weight of your past stop the wind of your future. Stand tall, walk bold. Get ready, because it's payback time. You may have walked through seasons where it felt like nobody saw the pain you were carrying. People may have overlooked you, taken advantage of your kindness, or even walked away during your most difficult moments. But let me encourage you, just because people didn't acknowledge it, doesn't mean God didn't notice. He saw every sacrifice you made, every time you chose to forgive when you could have retaliated, every time you smiled through the storm. He recorded it. Nothing you've endured has been wasted. Nothing you've gone through has been ignored. It might have felt unfair. Maybe you were the one who kept doing the right thing while others around you seemed to get ahead, cutting corners, being dishonest, treating people. And you're left wondering, God, do you even see this? Let me tell you, not only does he see it keeping score, and he's not just watching, he's preparing. While others are reaping what they manipulated, God is saving something greater for you. Something they can't access because it's not earned through deception, it's granted through obedience. You may feel like you're behind. You may feel like life has passed you by, or that your time will never come. But God is not unjust. The same one who created the heavens and the earth, who holds the stars in place, is the same one who holds your tears. He doesn't just comfort, he restores. And he's not forgotten how long you've waited, how many nights you stayed faithful, how many times you poured into others while nobody was pouring into you. You've got to understand, God has a way of keeping the books balanced. When something is taken from your life unjustly, he doesn't just let it go. He adds that loss to the tally of what he's getting ready to return. When someone walks away and you're left picking up the pieces, God doesn't just mend your heart, he multiplies your healing into purpose. There's a divine record of your pain, and it's attached to a promise. You may not see it yet, but that delay was preparation. That setback was set up. While it looked like you were being passed over, you were actually being positioned. God doesn't forget faithfulness. You may not have received the promotion, the recognition, the thank you, but don't worry. Your reward doesn't come from people. It comes from the Lord. And when God repays, he repays with overflow. He doesn't just give you back what was lost. He gives you more than you had before. Some of you have been mistreated by family, by people you trusted. You kept it all together. You didn't lash out. You didn't let bitterness grow. You kept praying, kept loving, kept standing. And you may be wondering if it was even worth it. Let me tell you it was. God took account of every insult, every unfair word, every tear you cried in secret. And now the scale is tipping. The season is shifting. There's a turnaround coming, not because you forced it, but because God is faithful to finish what He started. Think about it. All through Scripture, we see God making it right. When Joseph was sold into slavery, betrayed by his own brothers, forgotten in prison, God didn't just bring him out. He elevated him to second in command of all of Egypt. When Job lost everything, his family, his health, his wealth, God didn't leave him in despair. He restored him double for everything he lost. That's not just a Bible story. That's a picture of what God is about to do in your life. He's not done. He's not finished. What He promised you is still on the way. It doesn't matter how long it's been. It doesn't matter how deep the wound is. It doesn't even matter if everyone else forgot. Heaven has not forgotten. You are not invisible to God. In fact, you are His masterpiece, His child, His priority. And when God steps in to settle the score, it's not subtle. It's undeniable. People who wrote you off are going to watch God write you back in. This time in bold letters. Not for revenge, not to get even, but so they'll know who your source has always been. Don't let discouragement rob you of your expectancy. Don't let the silence fool you into thinking God isn't working. Some of the greatest miracles are being formed in moments when it seems like nothing is happening. Just because you can't see it. You can't see it doesn't mean it's not on the way. God moves in perfect time. But when the moment comes, it will make sense. The pain will have purpose. The wait will have weight. The suffering will lead to a sudden shift. So keep your heart soft. Keep your spirit open. Keep doing good, even when it feels like it's not being returned. Keep honoring God even when no one's watching. Because the one who sees in secret is getting ready to reward you openly. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You don't even have to explain yourself. God is your defender. And when He says it's time, no person, no mistake, no delay can stop Him. What's coming your way isn't a random blessing. It's divine payback. The tears you sowed in the dark are about to produce joy in the light. And when it happens, you'll look back and say, now I see. Now I understand. He kept the score all along. There comes a moment in every believer's journey when God says, that's enough. Now I'm stepping in. For a long time, it may have seemed like you were getting the short end of the deal. You were faithful, yet overlooked. You were generous, yet taken for granted. You gave your best, but they still walked away. You kept showing up, but the door stayed closed. You were dealing with all of this. It looked like others who did wrong were getting ahead. They climbed ladders they didn't build. They gained influence by cutting corners. They spoke against you and others believed them. And maybe you wonder to God, how is this fair? When is it my time? Let me tell you, that time is now. There's a divine shift taking place. This is not just another chapter. This is a season of heaven intervening. The time of letting things slide is over. God is settling some accounts. He's balancing the scales. What you lost, He's returning. What was delayed, He's releasing. What was wrongfully taken, He's restoring. Not by your effort, but by His hand. This is when the tables turn, not gradually. Not in small ways, but suddenly, unmistakably. See, when God decides to settle the account, He doesn't need permission. He doesn't need votes. He doesn't wait for popular opinion. He steps in, and what was out of alignment snaps into place. The ones who left you will watch from a distance as God raises you up. Not to embarrass them, but to vindicate you, so that everyone will see. His hand was on you all along. You may not realize it, but there's a court session in heaven that's always open. God is both judge and advocate. He doesn't forget injustice. He doesn't overlook suffering. He doesn't ignore betrayal. He watches patiently, lovingly, and when the appointed time comes, he says, I will repay. That's not a suggestion. Oh, that's a guarantee. You've carried weight others couldn't see. You've endured battles no one clapped for. You've kept quiet while others got loud with lies. But God has been watching it all. He's seen your restraint, your endurance, your obedience when it was costly. And he's saying, now I will act on your behalf. Not just to bring relief, but to bring reward. To show the world that those who trust him are never put to shame. This is not a small adjustment. This is a divine recalibration. Things are being made right. Things are being returned. Things are being reversed. Situations that look like they'd never shift are turning around. People who walked away are being replaced with better connections. Finances that were held up are being released. Opportunities that were closed are about to call your name. You didn't miss your chance. You didn't miss your moment. What God has for you is still on the table. The enemy may have tried to take it, but he can't cancel it. The delay only made the blessing bigger. The fight only made your foundation stronger. What you thought was a breakdown is becoming your breakthrough. And what looked like the end is actually the start of your comeback. Let go of the pressure to prove yourself. Let go of the need to explain everything. You don't have to convince people to believe in you. When God settles the account, he'll show them who you are. You won't need to say a word. The fruit of your life will speak for itself. The same ones who doubted you will have to watch you rise. Don't be surprised when it happens fast. Don't question it when the doors open wide. This is the kind of season where God says, you've waited long enough. Now watch what I'm about to do. You won't even have to knock. He'll open it. You won't have to chase. It will find you. You won't have to fight. The victory has already been won. And here's the best part. This isn't just about what's fair. This is about what's divine. God is not just interested in giving you what was taken. He's interested in multiplying it. He's interested in showing off through your life. Not to make you proud, but to make himself known. When he elevates, when he pours out his favor, people will say, that had to be God. That's the kind of restoration he brings. It's not ordinary, but extravagant. So walk with confidence, stand in expectation. This is not business as usual. This is a shift in your favor. You've entered into a season of justice, restoration, and reward. Don't let old disappointments speak louder than God's promises. Don't let temporary pain distract you from eternal purpose. What you thought was being denied was only being delayed for something better. You're not behind. You're right on schedule. The pain didn't disqualify you. It prepared you. The setbacks didn't stop the promise. They refined your character. And now it's your time. It's your season. It's the moment where heaven's gavel hits the table and declares, settle, blessing released. You've carried burdens that no one knows about. You've smiled when your heart was breaking. You've encouraged others while you were secretly needing encouragement yourself. You've walked into rooms full of people and hid the weight of what you were going through behind a brave face. And through all of it, you kept believing. You kept trusting. You kept holding on, even when everything inside of you wanted to let go. And here's the good news. God saw it all, and he's not going to leave you empty-handed. You didn't carry those burdens for nothing. You didn't press through that hardship for no reason. There's a blessing connected to every tear you've cried, every silent prayer you've whispered, every night you've laid awake wondering when it would change. It's not always obvious while you're in it, but God uses your struggles as stepping stones to something greater. He doesn't waste your pain. He doesn't ignore your effort. He collects it all. And when the time is right, He begins to release blessings you didn't even know were being stored up. There is a divine exchange coming. The heaviness you felt is being lifted. The sorrow you carried is being traded for joy. The confusion, the discouragement, the disappointment, it's all being replaced with peace, clarity. God is about to bless you for every burden you've carried with grace. For every time you kept walking when you wanted to give up. For every time you stayed faithful when you didn't see any progress. For every moment you chose integrity over convenience. God is about to reward you. People may not have noticed your faithfulness, but heaven did. God saw your heart. He saw how you kept honoring Him. Even when your circumstances didn't change, He saw how you kept giving. Even when your own resources were running low, He saw how you supported others, even when you felt unsupported. That's not weakness. Strength, that's the kind of strength God blesses. And make no mistake, there is a blessing coming. Not just a spiritual feeling of peace, not just inner strength, real, visible, undeniable favor, promotion, restoration, opportunities that have your name on them, peace that doesn't make sense in the natural, joy that rises out of places where only sorrow used to live. This is not just a new season. This is the season where burdens turn into blessings, where what weighed you down becomes the very reason God lifts you up. You may have been through the fire, but you're not going to come out smelling like smoke. You're coming out refined, stronger, wiser, and positioned. What the enemy meant for harm, God is flipping for good. And here's the thing, you're not just coming out with survival. You're coming out with substance. You're coming out with greater anointing, greater influence, greater favor. Some of you have been carrying family burden. Generational weights that didn't start with you but landed on your shoulders. You fought battles your parents never conquered. You broken patterns of fear, addiction, insecurity, and lack. And now God is saying, because you carried it, I'm about to bless you for it. You didn't just survive something. You disrupted something. You stopped moving forward. You shifted the trajectory of your entire family line. That doesn't go unnoticed by heaven. Others have carried the burden of rejection, people walking away, relationships falling apart, being misunderstood and misjudged. And still, you kept your heart soft. You kept loving. You kept forgiving. And now your heart is becoming a vessel for blessing. The rejection didn't break you. It shaped you. It taught you how to lean on God. It gave you spiritual muscles. And now that you've endured the season of isolation, get ready for a season of recognition. And maybe you've carried the burden of delay. You've been waiting for doors to open, for dreams to unfold, for prayers to be answered. You've watched others move forward while you stood still. You've wondered if God forgot about you. But the delay was never denial. It was protection. It was preparation. You were being developed. You had to be ready for what God is getting ready to release. The blessing coming your way is too big to hand to someone who's not prepared to carry. So God let you carry a burden first. And now that you've proven you can carry the weight, He's about to trust you with the blessing. You didn't quit. You didn't let the bitterness take over. You didn't walk away. And now, the tables are turning. It may not look like it yet, but it's already in motion. God is orchestrating things behind the scenes. He's speaking your name in rooms you haven't walked into yet. He's moving hearts, shifting circumstances, arranging divine appointments. So lift up your head. You've been carrying something heavy, but the exchange is coming. The load is about to be lifted, and in its place will come something beautiful, something powerful, something that lets everyone know it was all worth it. God never let a burden sit on your shoulders that He didn't plan to transform into a testimony. Your blessing is not just on the way, it's already been scheduled. And when it arrives, it'll make sense why the burden was so great, because the blessing is even greater. There are moments in life where everything seems to be falling apart. You face betrayal from people you trusted, unexpected losses, closed doors, and silent seasons where your prayers seem to go unanswered. You look around and wonder why it had to happen that way. You question the fairness of it all. You gave your heart and they broke it. You gave your energy and they drained it. You gave your best, and still, it felt like it wasn't enough. It can be tempting to carry that pain as identity. To say, well, maybe I'm just not meant for more. Maybe this is as good as it gets. But let me remind you of something powerful. What tried to break you has no authority to define you. You may have gone through something ugly, but that doesn't mean your life is going to stay ugly. That experience was not the conclusion. It was the conflict before the comeback. God never leaves His children in the pit. He lifts, He restores, He renews, and He always takes what the enemy meant for evil and turns it into fuel for your future. You may feel like you were a victim in a situation, but that doesn't mean you'll live as one. God doesn't leave His children stuck. He lifts the broken, He raises the rejected, and He repositions the overlooked. The world may have tried to define you by your wounds, but heaven calls you by your worth. You are not what you went through. You are not the mistake. You are not the trauma. You are the result of survival, the evidence of endurance, the proof that purpose still lives inside of you. God is not just going to bring you out of the pain. He's going to use the very thing that was meant to destroy you as the foundation to build something greater. He takes ashes and turns them into beauty. He takes closed chapters and rewrites the story. That means your worst season is becoming your strongest testimony. That heartbreak is producing a greater capacity to love. That rejection is giving birth to redirection. That injustice making way for a promotion you didn't even see coming. You didn't go through all of that just to end up bitter. You didn't survive all of that just to live small. You're not staying in the same place. You're rising. You're evolving. You're about to step into a new season where the tables turn, not in a way that destroys others, in a way that proves your God is still faithful. The people who tried to destroy you will witness your strength. The enemy that tried to shut you down will have to watch you walk into blessing with your head held high. This is your season to move from victim to victor. You don't have to explain your story to everyone. You don't have to defend your process. Let your fruit speak. Let your peace speak. Let your healing speak. Because when God lifts you, He makes sure it's visible. He brings you into places where you're seen, valued, and honored, not because you campaigned for it, but because you endured for it. Don't be ashamed of what you had to overcome. That's your oil. That's your power. That's your spiritual authority. You carry weight because you carried pain. You carry wisdom because you walked through fire. You're not just another voice in the crowd. You're a survivor of things many would have crumbled under. You may not have seen it then, but every time you stood back up, every time you kept going, every time you chose faith over fear, crown. So don't shrink back. Don't let people who couldn't handle your struggle talk you out of your strength. They weren't there when you cried yourself to sleep. They weren't there when you showed up anyway, even with a broken heart. They don't know the prayers you prayed just to keep breathing. But God knows. And He's saying to you now, I saw it all. And now I'm turning it around. Your future is not going to look like your past. Your story is not going to end in sorrow. Your identity is not tied to your mistake, your trauma, or your laws. It's anchored in purpose. It's rooted in destiny. What broke you built something in you that can't be shaken. And now, it's time for that strength to shine. You didn't choose the battle, but you will walk in the blessing. You didn't deserve the pain, but you will receive the promotion. You didn't ask for the fire, but you're coming out refined, purer, focused, stronger than ever. The enemy tried to take you out. Heaven had other plans. Plans to prosper you. Plans to establish you. Plans to prove that the God you serve is a restorer, a redeemer, a lifter of heads. So lift yours. Wipe your tears, straighten your back. This is not where your story ends. It's where your victory begins. You've been pressed, but not crushed. Struck down, but not destroyed. And now it's time. Time to step into the identity God already saw in you from the beginning. Time to walk in power. Time to shift from victim to victor. There are some things in life that are taken from you unfairly. Opportunities you earned but didn't receive. Time that was wasted in toxic relationships. Trust that was broken by people you loved. Years you spent struggling, sacrificing, surviving, wondering if things would ever change. And maybe after all of it, you felt like something valuable slipped through your hands and you'd never get it back. But let me remind you, when God brings restoration, He doesn't just return what was lost. He brings it back with increase, with interest, with favor. He knows how to make up for lost time. He knows how to take what the enemy tried to steal and give it back to you multiplied, not in the exact same form, but in a way that's better, stronger, richer, and more aligned with your purpose. You may feel like you've been working, pressing, believing, and yet you haven't seen the results. Others passed you by. People didn't recognize your effort. Life didn't reward your faithfulness when you expected. But just because it didn't happen on your timeline doesn't mean it's not coming. God doesn't pay in installments. He pays in full. And when He releases what's yours, it comes pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It's payback time. Not just for what you lost, but for how long you went without. For every year you stayed stuck in a season you should have already outgrown. For every moment you kept praying when others walked away. For every opportunity you had to give up, but didn't. You didn't fold under the pressure. You didn't abandon your character. You didn't try to manipulate the outcome. You stood still and let God be God. And now He's saying, because you waited, I'm going to reward you with more than you expected. You may have had years that felt like they were stolen. Your youth, your energy, your dreams. But God says, I will restore the years the locusts have eaten. That's not just poetry. That's a promise. God is not limited by time. He's not boxed in by logic. He can give you in 1 year what you thought would take 10. He can promote you in one moment beyond what your resume says you deserve. You see, back pay with interest means you're not just getting even, you're being elevated. You're not just recovering, you're rising. You're not just being made whole, you're being made stronger, wiser, and wealthier. That means the delay wasn't a denial. It was a setup for overflow. God was letting things build behind the scenes, letting favor accumulate, letting blessings stack up. And now that it's time, you're not getting a trickle, you're getting a flood. Some of you have sown and sown, but never saw the harvest. Yet, you gave love and got pain in return. You gave kindness and were met with coldness. You gave loyalty and got betrayal. But here's the thing. Heaven tracks every seed. And harvest doesn't always come from where you planted. It comes from where God chooses. You may not get it back from the person who hurt you, but you will get it back from the hand of God. And when He returns it, it will come through unexpected doors. Fresh ideas, better opportunities. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to compromise to get it. You won't have to beg. It will find you. Why? Because when the King says it's payback time, nothing can stop your compensation. God is not a debtor to anyone. He sees what was done to you in secret, and He plans to reward you in public. He sees the time you lost, and He's the only one who can give you a return on it. He's the only one who can stretch your years, multiply your impact, and give you more in your latter days than you had in your former. It may not come in the same shape, but it will come in a better form. It may not be from the same place, but it will carry greater power. Don't you dare settle just because it's been a long wait. Don't reduce your expectations just because people forgot about you. God hasn't forgotten. He's been keeping track, storing up, preparing a release that will blow your mind. The pressure, the pain, the loneliness, they all served a purpose. They were building interest. And now, you're about to collect. Your name is being brought up in rooms you've never entered. Your work is being remembered by people who ignored it before. Your value is about to be seen by the ones who once overlooked it. Not because of who you are, but because of what you carried with integrity. God is not just paying you back, He's honoring your patience. He's blessing your restraint. He's celebrating your endurance. So stay in position. Stay expectant. The blessing may not show up when you want it to, but when it does, it will make up for every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every no that should have been a yes. Not just restoration. Recompense. Not just what you lost, plus interest. You've had moments where it felt like heaven was silent. Times when you were doing all the right things, praying, believing, standing in faith. Yet nothing seemed to change. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and you started wondering, did God forget about me? Let me assure you, you are not forgotten, you are favored. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not in motion. God hasn't overlooked you. In fact, you've been on His mind the whole time. There's something powerful that happens when you're in a season of waiting. It may look like nothing is happening on the outside, but deep inside, something is forming. Strength is growing. Character is being shaped. Trust is being built. God is preparing you privately for what He's going to bless you with publicly. You're not invisible to heaven. You're not forgotten. You are favored, chosen, covered, and called. And when the fullness of time arrives, when God says the word, it's going to be more than worth it. The wait wasn't wasted. It was preparation for the release. And now, it's time. Now, as you stand in this moment, after everything you've walked through, after all the tears, the waiting, the battles, the losses, I came to tell you it wasn't for nothing. You didn't endure the fire just to be burned. You didn't cry those tears just to be broken. You're not walking out of this season empty. You're walking out in power. God saw it all. He kept the score. He watched you honor Him when nobody else was watching. He saw you stay silent when you could have fought back. He watched you stay kind when you had every reason to get bitter. He took note of the nights you didn't sleep, the weight you carried, the grace with which you handled unfair treatment. And now, He's not just watching, He's rewarding. This is not just a new chapter, it's a new dimension. God is settling the accounts. He's tipping the scales in your favor. The pain, the pressure, the patience, it's all led to this moment. The burden is turning into a blessing. The victim is becoming the victor. The loss is coming back with interest. And the one who felt forgotten is about to be favored in public. It's not time to give up. It's payback time. Not revenge, not bitterness, not proving people wrong, but God's kind of payback. healing, restoration, recompense, and supernatural favor. The kind that silences every lie. The kind that makes people say only God could have done that. So walk into this season with boldness. Lift your head. Straight your shoulders. Speak like it's already done. Pray like it's already answered. Move like the doors are already open. Because the same God who brought you through it is about to bring you into something bigger, better, and beyond what you've been imagining. You've waited long enough. You've cried long enough. You've endured long enough. And now, heaven is declaring over your life, this is the season of payback. And I'm not just returning what was taken. I'm adding more to it. This is your time. It's payback time.